This is a trade on US30 that I made plus 1,500 pips from. This is a trade on the NASDAQ that I made plus 1,200 pips from. And this is another trade on US30 that I made plus 900 pips from. I used a simple price action strategy on all these trades for an entire week. Simply looking at the charts and understanding the fundamental language of the candlesticks. But the most interesting trade that I had was this particular trade, and it was on the NASDAQ. That one trade that makes people ask, what is your secret weapon? Now, I shared this as a limit order in my inner circle and as a setup in the free signal group. But then the real question is, how did I know that NASDAQ was going to drop down to this exact level and buy off of that level and start pushing up to the top? Now stick around if you also want to learn how to read the candlesticks like I did on these particular trades. And if you're new to the channel, welcome to Trade the NASDAQ over here. If you're returning, welcome back. You already know what's up. Don't forget to hit that like button, turn your post notifications, and subscribe to the channel. Now let's start by analyzing our 1,200 pip trade on US30. We're already in this trade at this particular point. As you can see, I only looked at one simple candlestick that had a really large wick telling me that the buyers had started stepping into the market at that point. As you can see, this was a setup dropped in the free signal group way before this candlestick had formed, way before the market had moved in, and surely way before we had entered this trade with the inner circle. As you can see, in the inner circle, we already up plus 340 pips, and I was telling them that those people that never had patience would have left this trade earlier because it took a lot of time for it to then play out. We had to hold this trade for a couple of days before it played out. That was one of those trades that would actually test your patience. So all of those people that left at 40 pips, 100 pips, the first and the second take profit would have really been so annoyed because the trade simply then just shot up to the top, as you can see right here. Now, the most interesting thing about this trade is, as people were looking to take profit, I wanted to take advantage of the trade playing out. So what I did is I saw a breakout at that particular level, and as sure as anything, I would have expected a retest. But you can see that the movement it broke out with was a really large movement, and I didn't think that the sellers would step in to give us a little retest. So what I decided to do is to target straight to the next zone that I wanted US30 to go to, and for that reason, I definitely added more positions, just 2 trades to that movement, and you can see that it absolutely just shot up to the top. And at this point, we were running in crazy profit. So that's exactly how you want to capitalize on a good movement, especially one movement that would have wasted your time. Imagine you are in a trade and then you wait for a trade for 3-4 days, and then the market just moves a little bit, it gives you 200 pips, then you already want to close the trade. No. After you wait for such a long time for a trade, when it now starts moving, make sure you take full advantage of that particular trade. Now straight onto this NASDAQ trade. Someone might just think that I'm simply bluffing, that I gave this trade days before it actually played out. We had to exercise patience waiting for this limit order to get triggered in the inner circle. Let's just check that out. Where is our NASDAQ trade? Right over here. As you can see, I gave this limit order on the 4th of June, right? On the 4th of June. And you can see this trade played out on the 6th of June, right? This is the 4th of June. This is the 4th of June. So I gave this trade to buy the NASDAQ at this level when the market was around about this level. So the market moved on the 4th, the 5th. It went up to the top here. People would have thought that we're going to get left with the trade. At some point, I actually was thinking also that maybe the market would never come down to trigger this limit order. But as sure as anything, you can see it dropped right to my level. This was the level that I gave as a limit order at 21,500 at this level. And then it just shot right up to the top with a little bit of drawdown that we just had right over there. As you can see, 21,500 by the NASDAQ. And then I even gave another trade in between. That is the US30 trade that we then had 900 pips from. And as you can see, these are our trades. US30 was playing around. It delayed for a little bit, gave us 1 take profit, 2 take profits. Then NASDAQ got triggered, and then NASDAQ started to move. As you can see, as sure as anything, both of our trades eventually then moved, both the NASDAQ and US30, and we had a trade totaling 1,800 pips in the account for both the trades on the NASDAQ and US30. And that is exactly what I had shared also in the free signal group. This trade here, I had given it in the free group. Just look at that. This was the day after, right? This was when I was telling them that my points of interest on the NASDAQ, very simple. NASDAQ has to come out to this level, I'll look for buying positions. NASDAQ breaks out of this level, I'll look for buying positions. As simple as that. And then I shared it with everyone, and I hope everyone did capitalize. Now, what did I see to actually take this trade? Very simple. If we go over onto our daily time frame, you won't believe the analysis that I simply used. You can clearly see that the market had broken out of this area on the daily time frame, and then it pushed up to the top without a retracement. I simply wanted the market to come back and retest this area here, and that's why I had my limit order right at that level. Very, very simple. So we indeed had a really fantastic week. Also an NFP week that was absolutely good, because most of these trades played out on Friday. And let's just see what we will be looking for this current week. You know what, I want to start on US30, because US30, we are so in the trade and it looks absolutely good. So this is our trade on US30. We are currently still in this trade, but we're holding only one position, because this trade has already given us way over 400 pips before the market closed. And also this is the daily time frame, right? So that is a really large movement that we're having on US30. Now, what am I expecting? I'm simply expecting US30 to break out. As you can see, it already did break out of this particular level and has closed outside, but I wouldn't want to consider that, because we have this week right at that level, right? So I wanted to break out of this week first. It didn't close outside of it. So if it breaks out of this week and closes outside of it, then we'll have a really confirmed trade on US30. But for now, I've told the inner circle that this is more of a swing trade. So we actually took profits on all of our trades. We just left one entry on US30 so that we can run through with it. Now, it's actually very simple. The analysis is just exactly what I explained right now. We want US30 to continue respecting this trend line. We also want it to break out of this area. If it does, breakout closes outside of that level that I've just spoken of, then you want to take advantage of that movement, because you know that the next level would be around about this zone that US30 would be targeting. Now, what you want to do is to always have a breakout and a retest, catch the market when it does retest, look at the candlestick, understand what each candlestick is saying. When they have selling momentum, when it's like a really big bearish momentum candle, there's absolutely no need of going into buying trades at that moment. You want to wait for the perfect moment. As you can see right now, if we have another bullish candle here, we'll be good to go. Or if it comes back and sits on this trend line, then we really want to continue riding US30 up to the top. So it does not look complicated at all. Now, what we want to look at also now is the NASDAQ. Now, on the NASDAQ, yes, indeed, we are done with this trade. I actually took all of my profits on the NASDAQ trade. Why? Because you can clearly see the level that it's currently rejecting off of right over there. And also we have only this level for it to now go to, right? So in this particular trade, you already have to be in the trade, or you have to stay out and look for fresh entries, which is what we're going to do on the NASDAQ. And then my next level would be around about this zone. On the NASDAQ, that's a very similar setup to US30. We have a trend line that it should respect. We expect it to come to this level to give us another leg. If it does, we can bounce off of this support area that we have, or if we go to the top, we break out of this resistance area that we have. Simple price action, wait for a breakout and a retest. If you use this simple strategy that I'm always telling you, sounds very simple, right? A breakout, a retest, a trend line, but it actually works. That's exactly what we are all using in the inner circle, right? In here are normally used as trap zones, right? So you always want to use them as support levels, right? So if you use it like this, it makes more sense. It comes to this area, it will get broken out of, and then buys from probably this level right here, right? That will be the next support area, right? So here you want to ignore it. You know why? Because most of the traders will be looking at the exact same point. It will be obvious to each and every trader that trades the NASDAQ right over here. So you want to use that as a trap, wait for them to get swept out of this level, and then come and buy it off of the zone. Also with the trend line, that would make a lot more sense on the NASDAQ. I think that's it. That's justice to the NASDAQ. Let's see what gold is saying. All right, gold does look really interesting, right? Does it not? It looks really interesting. So we have gold falling, and as you can see, it actually looks like it's coming to this really nice trend line that we have right over here, right? Because clearly, as clear as day, you can clearly see that it has broken out of this level that it had right here, and it only has to close outside of this level, which it has already done, because this is like during the weekend, right? Now, considering how the market opens, we don't know how it's going to open, whether with a big gap or without a gap on both NASDAQ, US30, on all of the charts, in fact, NASDAQ, US30, and gold. We don't know how it's going to open looking like. Now, if it does open the market down at the bottom here, there's a high chance that this gold trade would actually then drop to this trend line right over here. And then this would now be our area. Probably this would now be our point of interest right at this level, or this one where we had a breakout of this area, bounce back, now it comes back to retest, or we would have the market playing around till it touches this trend line. But for now on gold, I don't see a potential setup. This looks like a seller's market to me in the short term, so I wouldn't want to trade gold until it drops down to these levels. Or obviously if it comes and breaks out of these zones, then I would want to tackle that. That's about it for our weekly analysis. Nothing looks complicated at all. Simple price action that we're going to be using here, as sure as anything. I'm also looking at my economic calendar here. We only have news on Wednesday and on Thursday. Nothing of paramount importance, just core CPI. We also are having PPI on Thursday, CPI on Wednesday. So the market is going to be looking pretty clean. It's a good week to find really good trades. Now, if you did find the breakdown helpful and you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button, turn your post notifications, and subscribe to the channel. You feel me? With that, it's been Tino, and I'll see you in the next video. Love you guys.